Christ. Whoa! Oh my God, we got it, please!
Redwood National Park, Northern California. This place is known for its ancient giant trees. But according to eyewitnesses, there are other giants here.
All of a sudden here is this 9-foot tall, 800 or 900 pound animal. And it's looking me in the eye.
Something that is so loud and scare you like that, I believe in them now.
I've never heard that kind of sound.
It's got me to the point now where I get up in the middle of the night and look outside and see if I can see anything.
Now I kind of get this feeling there's something watching me out here.
It made a motion that was as much arm as it was leg.
My dog was curled up, flipped out, and wouldn't make a peep.
And my dogs act as strange as they do. Makes me think that there's something out there. I don't know exactly what.
Eyes bulging, just ears back, totally scared, trembling.
That's what happens to all dogs.
If you look at any animal sightings and you compare them, if you see a large amount of consistency across geographic areas, and you have to think, either there's a grandiose conspiracy theory going on amongst these people to be consistent, or they're seeing the same thing.
Hundreds of eyewitnesses claim to have seen a hairy, man-like giant in these mountains.
I've spent 40 hours a week, 4 summers in a row in the woods at night, and I've never had an encounter like that before.
But there is more than just eyewitness accounts. Could this video be proof the Redwood forest giants exist?
We started looking back when we heard sounds, and that's when I had my sighting. When I looked back up the hill, and there it was.
Frank Kemp believes he has seen one of these creatures. While working for the California Fish and Game Department in June of 2000, Frank claims he came face to face with one of these giants.
We were out to conduct a survey out in the backcountry, and there's no trails or public access really where we were, and for about 15 minutes we could hear something kind of following us, kind of pacing us but at a distance, and I had some live bait in my pack, which is pretty stinky. We're out there, we're biologists, so it's cool to see it, and we just keep looking back, maybe catch a glimpse as we're descending this hill, look back, and could see the silhouette of this big thing just for about 2 seconds, just like that kind of motion, just cruising through this stuff, no problem, gracefully, and that was, I couldn't believe what I saw. It just, my heart stopped and I lost my breath. And I looked down at my partner who was below me, and he was just like, hey, let's just get out of here, man.
We're going to head down the 199 to Crescent City, and then we're going to go south on 101 to Redwood National Park.
Autumn Williams is a cryptozoologist and field researcher, a specialist in the search for as yet undiscovered species.
Monsters are my life. For over 13 years, I've investigated reports of unknown animals. I'm often asked, if these things exist, why don't more people see them? The answer is, people see them all the time. They just don't talk about it.
I always had a belief in them, but now I have a knowledge in them, because seeing is believing, and I saw it.
In 2001, pilot Kirk Johnson was flying his Cessna just above the treetops when he spotted something completely out of the ordinary.
Hey, it's Bigfoot, right down there, right on that bridge.
Where is it? I can't see it. I can't see it.
It was massive, had extremely long arms, very long legs, a barrel-like torso, and a head that was just plopped right on its shoulders, and was absolutely massive.
Redwood National Forest surrounds Eureka, California. Located along the northern California coast about 275 miles north of San Francisco. Eyewitnesses have reported seeing giant, man-like hairy beasts throughout this ancient coastal forest. Kirk Johnson's encounter occurred above a remote forest road. What he observed from above that day, he will never forget.
We climbed up out of the coast, and a friend of mine was at the controls. From my vantage in the back seat, I had an excellent view of the terrain below, and I was stunned at what I saw.
Whoa! Whoa, Bigfoot, right down on the ridge. Swear to God, man, right down there.
I've seen a lot of wildlife in the air, and this one I could only describe as Bigfoot. It was about a 7-foot tall animal. It was jet black, and it was running fast. It made a motion that was as much arm as it was leg. It stopped in mid-stride and turned its head and just stopped and looked up at the aircraft. My next thought was, damn, Bigfoot. This isn't what I need. I don't need to be a Bigfoot witness. If what I saw was a person dressed in a gorilla suit running down a ridge, then good on him, because it must have been 105 degrees that afternoon there, miles from anywhere, in the middle of nowhere.
As with most wildlife sightings, they frequently occur on forest roads.
The biggest mountain lion ever recorded in North America is we're right smack middle of its territory right now. It's over 300 pounds.
But in this case, the wildlife was unidentified. Eyewitness Tino Pania.
There's no lights, no people anywhere, so all that we could see was just in our headlights.
I never thought about the universe. It made me feel small.
And my friend gasps and hits the brakes, and I look up, and we both see a creature that is at least 7 foot tall, crossed from what, right within the line of our beams across the road. After 2 or 3 steps, the thing had already crossed the road.
That's pretty consistent with other stories I know down there.
If it was a hoax, then then we got hoaxed, but I seriously doubt it was.
Interestingly, Tino's encounter sounds very similar to another story the Encounters team heard recently. Only this sighting occurred thousands of miles away. In 1984, Scott McLean sighted a similar creature along a North Carolina road.
An animal jumped out in front of me, and it was there and gone, and the 2 guys in the car woke up, and they said, what did you do that for? And I said, well, a Jawa just walked out in front of the car, because at the time I wasn't thinking Bigfoot at all, and it was not big, and it seemed like a small sand creature that was wearing a monk's robe. I mean, that was the only place my brain could fit it in, and I'm just surprised that it fit a lot of the same characteristics of arms swinging, brown, shaggy, pointed head, and it was just small. That was the only difference between stories that I hear. Every 8-foot creature has to start out as a 3-foot creature. I can imagine just what was in front of it, maybe, where its parents were.
While eyewitness testimony is interesting, hard physical or photographic evidence may help prove the Redwood forest giant is real.
I'm serious. Let's get out of here. You guys, we just had a possible sighting. You can't just leave. You gotta call somebody.
In August of 1995, a video surfaced that shows a creature crossing a road in front of an RV. The RV just happened to contain a film crew who were on location shooting a TV special.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Sasquatch!
Researchers have long been at odds over the Redwoods footage. Some believe it shows a real creature, and others believe it's a hoax.
Guys! Bear, look! Bear! Whoa, whoa! Bear, like a big bear! Let's go get it!
It's not a bear. That's I don't know.
What is that? That bear? Colin, turn your brights on. Turn your brights. Whoa! Oh my God! We got it! Please!
Hopefully, our video analysts and anatomy experts can reveal the truth.
The Encounters team is joined by Russian researcher and author Dmitry Bayanov.
If we have information about this creature all around the world, then it's clear that it's not just one freak, but it's a natural population.
And local Bigfoot field researcher James Fay, a.k.a. Bobo, who had a sighting of his own recently.
It went into this crazy howler monkey gibbon kind of screeching, chattering. He couldn't even imitate it. Just crazy, and we're parked right at the spot. This was less than 2 weeks ago this happened. This is the most recent stuff I know of in Humboldt.
Let's go.
The Encounters team will be setting up a high-tech surveillance trap in a remote patch of biologically rich land. El Jefe, from the punk rock band NoFX, is interested in cryptozoology and wants to temporarily join up with the Encounters team.
I personally tested every single one of those things before we got out here. There should be no problems.
He is interested to see if evidence can be found to either support or refute the local Redwood giant legend.
I mean, if we want this thing to grab a hair, it's got to be sharp. It's got to like, go snap.
Irrefutable video and DNA evidence is what the Encounters team is after, and they've brought the technology to get it. Weatherproof infrared video cameras, game view infrared still cameras, the Micron Thermal Imaging Camera Unit, DNA traps, food bait, pheromone scent chips, audio bait, all tools the team will deploy in an attempt to obtain proof of the Redwood giant's existence.
This area has had numerous recent sightings. Witnesses claim ungulates, such as deer and elk, have been found with broken legs and broken necks. Even more interesting, their chest cavities were torn open and only the liver was missing. No known predatory animal attacks in this manner.
It's the first thing that rots in the carcass is the liver and the viscerae. And so these things are eaten quickly, and they've got a lot of protein and nutrients there. So that would maybe explain why that's eaten. Now, on the kill itself, a broken neck, that would take something really, really powerful to break a deer or elk neck.
The team will mount the infrared still and video camera along game trails deep within the forest.
There just isn't enough technology to cover every square inch of forest, so we have to pick our camera locations carefully, cross our fingers, and hope for the best.
You got to respect these huge old-growth trees, man. They've been here for so long, thousands of years.
They're so valuable. Our descendants must see them. Bigfoot's head would be about that level.
Look at this. There's a game trail right here.
Along with these high-tech traps, the team will use traditional figure-4 snare techniques throughout this old-growth forest to get hair samples for DNA testing.
All you need is a little bit of fishing wire, and I can catch anything.
Well, I hope it's 800-pound test.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to wedge this little stick in here. We're not trying to actually catch him. We just want to catch some hair.
My personal thing is a Bigfoot will feel that, know it's not natural.
They're constantly pushing brush out of their way.
Right.
This is going to have no more resistance than the brush. Okay, now we got to build a trigger. And then once it's tripped, how long are those fly papers once they pull out?
About this long. This stuff is so sticky.
Pretty tight. That's it. Now what we'll do is
they probably, like something sticky on it, just like sap or honey,
and stick it to whoever tripped the wine. Now what we do is we just...
You did a good job, Mario.
The team plans to cover a large area with surveillance equipment. Working from horseback not only allows the team to cover more ground, but might help disguise human scent on the trails.
All right, we're gonna set up some stuff here, Blind.
Okay, I got that camera trap.
Look at this right here.
Oh.
This is absolutely perfect.
It's a cave in a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, this is a great natural shelter, but what these witnesses say that they're finding is these actual nests, almost like a bird nest.
And gorillas definitely make nests on the ground.
The trap is set. The team is ready for nightfall.
The easiest answer to explain all the sightings and all the evidence and everything is that they're out there.
The Encounters team is near Redwood National Park by Eureka, California, searching for a creature countless eyewitnesses describe as large, hairy, and upright walking. Local researcher Bobo had his own encounter here in 2002 while on an expedition with the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization.
All of a sudden I heard a loud crack come from the side. Crack, crack. Then this other noise came from the other side of the meadow, and they marched like centuries and came together straight in front of me across the meadow. It was a couple hundred yards. They went back and forth, screaming, howling, shaking trees, huge 40-foot trees swaying back and forth, getting shook, and I was scared to death. This went on for over 2 hours. I kept trying to antagonize them, doing calls, and then all of a sudden, at once, it was like simultaneously, at least 2 and maybe 3 ran at me full speed. At this point, I mean, I was scared to death, and I was wanting to get out of there.
You said you heard their voices. What kind of vocalizations were they?
My truck was parked behind me, and I have a big 90-pound pit bull that's super protective of the car, lunging, snapping, anything comes near it. When I went back to my car, my dog was curled up, flipped out, and wouldn't make a peep. My friend Eric and I were up on the hill with the night scope, and John drove up in a convertible next to the tree line. And at this point, he said he was getting charged by a bear. He kept asking if we could see it through the scope, and we kept saying no. And we were scanning back and forth for quite a while when all of a sudden what I thought to be a boulder or a huge stump just went straight up and walked into the tree line. I couldn't believe how enormous it was. It was about as big as the whole hood area of a Toyota pickup. It would go back and forth, and it would be behind this one stump that came between its belly button and its chest. It was right about here exactly. The next day we measured that stump. It was 6'9", so we figured that thing had to be 10 foot.
It's encouraging that Bobo had a sighting during the course of his research. Maybe we'll have that kind of luck.
I have a theory that the reason that you hear so many stories about people getting growled at while going to the bathroom is that they think we're trying to mark their turf.
While urinating at the perimeter of the camp to provoke an interaction might seem silly, I think Bobo may be onto something. Mario Benassi, the biologist in the group, agrees.
Literally, almost every single animal uses urine to mark its territory, or in use as chemical messages to other animals of its own species. So, I mean, I think that theory's great.
When we were at the Skookum Meadows and I went to the woods, you know, I got growled at, and then Butch did, one of our crew members, and Doug did too, so.
Yeah, when I'm out in the field, I'm always act like I'm marking my turf to try to provoke a response.
While we're out there, it's just do it. Here we go, creature. Whose turf is it now?
Bobo will take Autumn back to the location where his sighting occurred.
Our goal is to try to replicate the same circumstances as closely as possible in hopes that the event will repeat itself.
There's something right there.
I'm hearing it.
Could be a coyote. We heard that coyote earlier, and then we've been doing just fawn and distress and coyote pups.
Bobo and I try something I've never done before. We both call at the same time, doing a kind of duet. Maybe that will get the creature's attention.
All right, here we go.
Those elk are talking to each other.
We got 3 hot spots right there.
Yeah, that looks like elk.
I think they're elk.
This is big time elk area. I mean,
What was that? Coyote?
Yeah. I don't just look for a hot spot, I also look for a moving cool spot, because if their fur or the creature's hair works as well as it shouldn't
Insulated.
have exactly. It shouldn't have a lot of heat coming out of it.
that's got to be elk. Go back to your left. Go back to your left.
So we're gonna change the one back this way.
This is amazing.
Isn't that great?
Elk.
Meanwhile, back at base camp, something has taken the bait near one of the surveillance traps. The team wants to be sure that whatever is out there sticks around. Scott has the unenviable job of rebaiting the camera traps in the dark. Now the team can only wait, and it is not long before the culprit appears.
Oh, this stuff stinks.
After consideration of the and viewing of the Redwoods video, I've come to the following tentative conclusions.
For the past week, the Encounters team has attempted to collect evidence to either support or refute the existence of a strange beast reported in the Redwood National Forest of Northern California. The team has obtained a controversial video that was shot back in 1985. Is it authentic or a clever hoax? Anatomy and video experts, including Dr. Jeff Meldrum from Idaho State University, have examined the tape.
Unfortunately, the Redwoods video was not filmed under the most ideal of conditions. It's very dark, very grainy, There are some interesting features. I was struck by the apparent correlation between the overall stature and posture of the film subject here with that of, for example, the Patterson-Gimlin film subject. But there are also some red flags. The circumstances of the encounter, some odd appearances such as the wide ankles that almost appear to be obscuring footwear instead of the feet themselves. These things give cause for some reservation. I think that this video will not be compelling on the subject one way or the other. It's just simply too blurry, too grainy.
Autumn and the Encounters team set up hidden motion-activated cameras. The bait-stealing culprit turned out to be a hungry fox. The camera traps only captured images of identifiable animals.
Does the redwood forest giant really exist? Eyewitnesses believe it does. A primate this large living in the forests of North America would have to be elusive in nature in order to survive. And that elusiveness makes the job of finding it that much more difficult. But we'll keep trying. All across America, there is no shortage of mysterious encounters to investigate.
Actually got face away from the camera.
The logo. The Sasquatch dance.
This one, bud.
Yeah, that could be a new hit dance.
Duh.